Hey, welcome to 2020, ladies and gentlemen. I am Frank Turek with the great Jorge Gill and a special guest tonight here on Cross Examine Live. With the new year, a lot of people want renewal. They want to kind of start over, they want to get a fresh start, and we're going to give you an opportunity to do that. There's something that can be debilitating in your life and my life, particularly when it comes to faith, to what we believe about reality. And that, of course, is doubt. A lot of people struggle with doubt. How do you overcome doubt? In fact, there's a friend of mine who has been a pastor. He's been a college professor. In fact, he's a college professor right now. He has an incredible website full of over 1,000 apologetics videos. And in his experience, doubt has crept in on many occasions. Is this really true? Is Christianity really true? Does God really exist? Did Jesus really rise from the dead? Is there true hope for life, not only here, but beyond the grave? These are questions we all need to deal with. And my friend Bobby Conway, the 1 Minute Apologist, is next week going to begin an online course called Doubting Toward Faith. And one of the unique things about the courses that we run at onlinechristiancourses.com is that not only will you just watch video, but you will interact live with the instructor on Zoom video. So you can go face to face with the instructor and get your questions answered directly live on video, because we have several occasions during these courses. I teach some of them, Jorge teaches some of them, Bobby's now going to teach one, where we come on live and we answer your questions. So we want to give you an opportunity to be a part of that. This course starts next week. So let me introduce both Jorge Gill, the great Jorge Gill, who is the executive director of Cross Examine, and of course, Bobby Conway, Dr. Bobby Conway, because he's going to be our instructor here. Here are the gentlemen right here. One is in Columbia, South Carolina. That's the great Jorge Gill. And all the way out in Laguna Niguel, California, the great Bobby Conway, Dr. Bobby Conway. Gentlemen, how are you? Let's start with you, Jorge. How you feeling? Some gifts. We're going to get to the gifts, but you need to stand up and show everybody what shirt you're wearing there. What you got going there, man? The 1 Minute Apologist. Where can people get those shirts? Who's got to talk to the man? Well, let's go over to the man, because I'm just going to do. I just wanted to introduce Bobby to everybody, because Bobby's been a friend of mine for a long time. I just want to introduce Bobby to everyone. Then you guys are going to take the conversation from here. And by the way, people can write in questions on Facebook, and can they text them, or how can people write questions for Bobby on this deal? Okay, good. So if you want to have a question for Bobby on doubt, you can put that in right now, and we'll get to it a little bit later. Bobby, you're out in California now. Give people kind of a 2 minute testimony of how you got where you are and how doubt was a part of your faith journey. How did that happen?
Sure. I got into apologetics as a result of doing evangelism. I was sharing the gospel with 50 to 100 people per week in evangelism as an early Christian. Got saved at 19. Never heard the gospel as 19. Got saved here in Southern California under Greg Laurie's preaching ministry. And so apologetics became a tool that I found very effective for doing evangelism. Later, it would become something I needed to help me to learn how to cope with doubts. And in particular, when I was at Dallas Seminary, I had a class on the life of Christ by Dwight Pentecost. And as I was looking at the synoptic gospels in parallel fashion, I found myself beginning to wrestle with some of the apparent contradictions. And then I found myself having questions that would continue to build over time. After seminary, I went and started a church, was a pastor, but the doubts would come and go. And then when I began my PhD in philosophy of religion in England 6 years ago or so, at the beginning part of that degree, I was in some of the thick of the dark night of the soul. But God truly did bring me out of it. And I believe he allowed me to go through that because there was a book he wanted me to write. He wanted me to understand, what it is like to relate to people who doubt. And I wasn't like an emergent church doubter that wanted to move beyond my faith. I was just somebody tormented by the fact I was having doubts because of how close my relationship to Jesus was. The thought of it not being real really made this incredibly anguishing to me. And I'm so thankful to say that, yeah, I have questions and I can have doubts, but it's not robbing my life anymore the way that it once did.
And that's one of the things that I think you can help people overcome if they feel like these doubts are debilitating them or robbing them of their relationship with Christ or really causing them angst, that you can walk people through that. And that's what I think you're going to do in this course, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Absolutely. They're going to have the opportunity, whoever takes this class, to really identify their doubts and figure out a game plan for tackling them. But bigger than that, I'm going to help us all interact and think what it means for us to renegotiate our faith stance. For me, I think I started to get on a quest for omniscience. I was trying to learn everything, and apologetics can suck you into a rabbit hole where you end up just kind of aborting the relational side of things in the name of just thinking spiritual maturity is about knowing all the right answers. And I lost sight of that a little bit. And I want to really encourage, Jose, I'm starting to myself as I'm talking that whole deal, just as a heads up. Oh, cool. Way to go, Jorge.
Yeah, there he is. I was starting to doubt that we'd be able to do this, but to the rescue. Yeah, we got you.
I can.
Oh. All right. Hey, come back on camera, Bobby. You probably got half your face on that right over there. Yeah, move over. There you go.
Is that good?
I'm starting to doubt it's really you. No, but here's the interesting thing. Think about this for a second, people. And look, everybody on occasion struggles with doubt of some kind. Think about this. There are people who are almost absolutely sure that God exists. And then there are other people who are absolutely sure he doesn't exist. And both of those people can't be right. So it's not the psychology that you're having that will tell you whether or not Christianity is true or whether God exists. It's the evidence that will. And I know you get a little bit into the evidence during this course, but it's really difficult sometimes to get people to realize that your psychology is not something that's necessarily going to lead you in the right direction. It might, but it might not. So psychology is not the issue. The issue is the evidence. And I know you've written books. I've got one of them right here. In fact, this is one of our gifts today, right? God does not exist, or does God exist? And you got answers to 51 other questions. Not God does not exist. You'd be really doubting then. You've also got the fifth gospel. Hey, by the way, what is the fifth gospel? Who is the fifth gospel?
That's a book that I wrote based off a quote by Gypsy Smith, the late British evangelist, who said there are 5 gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and the Christian, and most people will never read the first 4. So what I contend is that we, the church, are the 5th gospel, not an inspired gospel, but an
inspired. Jorge, are you like putting him through the witness protection program or something, garbling his voice? He's hitting the mic over there. I hope everybody out there is enjoying our technical trouble here, but yeah, but you keep throwing like sound effects at us half the time. We're talking and you're hammering your mic and can they hear you? Oh.
Hey, if you give up on it, go sign up for the course, right?
Go sign up for the course because this is the kind of quality product we put out every week. Come on. It's not like that. We don't use this. We're using Zoom for the course. We don't have this trouble on Zoom. Yeah, when we're doing these Zoom meetings, we're not broadcasting them on the internet. That's what's causing all this trouble right now. We use Zoom for these course meetings, these live meetings where you'll interact with Bobby live, and you won't have this kind of technical issue we're having right now, where Jorge's in the center, banging stuff. Bobby's face is half off the. Why don't you just do this, Bobby? Then get back on the camera, dude. We got half your face. Everybody's going, who is that guy? See, these courses are fun, ladies and gentlemen. Trust me. We have a good time. All right. Can they hear you or not? Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'll just do the interview then. We don't need Jorge Ernesto Gil Calderon on this. All right. So the fifth gospel, Bobby, get back on camera, man. I feel like we can't hear Jorge. We can't see you. What's going on here? Come on. There you go. Okay. All right. So how did you come out of this period of darkness? What did you do?
Well, I do want to let the audience know that it's late, and Frank is not experiencing, Jose Cuervo.
No, I'm not. It's like 10:30 Eastern time here. I'm ready to check out.
Okay. What was your question?
The question was, how did you come out of this period of darkness when it came to doubt? I mean, you're a professional, man. You've been to seminary. You've been to PhD. You're a pastor. You're a college professor, and you've had doubt. How does that work?
Well, look, one of the things that I do share and I'll talk about is how there's a certain personality type, what I refer to as the obsessive analyzer, that I think can be stricken with guilt or with doubt, guilt too, but doubt more than others. I see Frank's mug over there. I don't know what's going on my end, but it's anyway. All that to say, that, folks, if you could forgive us here on the program.
We're getting the giggles now, man. You're talking about a serious subject, but
the obsessive analyzer is the person that's got this ability to analyze but they're also very obsessive. So you think of someone like that has some OCD tendencies or addictive tendencies. Well, my personality type has both of those. I can be very analytical, yet at the same token, very kind of OCD, obsessive, fixated at times. When you put those two together in the heart of a doubter and the mind of a doubter, it's really hard to unlock. So like, Frank, you're probably like highly analytical, but I wouldn't see you maybe as the addict, obsessive guy. You get others like that are really obsessive and addicted. They don't even know what questions asked. They're not sitting around analyzing. Well, when you put those two together, that can be really hard. It's like being stuck in quicksand. And for me, I felt like I was stuck in quicksand for several years, and God, by his grace, would end up using all of the torment and the doubts and the questions that I had really to prepare me to be an apologist. Because what was happening is I was growing and I was learning, and he used my time of chasing questions down to get answers. But when all was said and done, the way out was not getting another answer to a question. The way out was returning to the way I got back into this thing. and becoming like a child, having the faith like a child, trusting that the evidence that I have is good enough. It's never going to be exhaustive. It's never going to be perfect from my perspective. I'm always going to have questions, but I came to believe that Christianity answers my questions better than any other belief system that I could imagine. And believe me, I tried to think about what I wrestle with if I was a Muslim or an atheist or an agnostic or a Mormon. And
that's what I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
In regard to this, and I know you'll cover more of this in the course, but everybody has to have, if you're a thinker, you got to have a worldview to explain why things are the way they are. Why is reality the way it is? And even if you're an atheist, you've got to explain why things are the way they are. If you're going to be somebody that is a thinker, somebody that's trying to figure out cause and effect. So my question is, when you're going through, or when you were going through these doubts, when it was your darkest period, you may have doubted, say, Christianity, but did you ever flip it around and say, okay, if I was an atheist, what would I be struggling with? Like, how would I explain the origin of the universe? How would I explain the fine-tuning of the universe from an atheist perspective? How would I explain objective moral values? How would I explain the resurrection, the evidence for the resurrection? Or how would I explain the explosion of the church out of Jerusalem? There were so many other things you would need to explain from that perspective. Did you ever flip it when you were going through those troubled times?
All the time. And that's one of the things that, like, the process of going through doubts was horrific. And I'm so thankful that I'm not living in the sea of that angst. At the same token, boy, it can really help you to go through a sanctification process of the mind. I talk about different types of doubts: emotional doubt, spiritual doubt, volitional doubt. My greatest type of doubts were intellectual doubt, which tends to often be the least kind, where emotional doubt is what really buffets people. But yeah, I would think like this, Frank. I go, okay, well, the atheists, they really struggle with this whole idea of how could a good God allow for evil in the world? Okay, but then if I was an atheist, there would be no ultimate justice to deal with evil anyway. Mussolini and Pol Pot and Hitler and Mao Zedong, they all just get away with it. So on Christianity, I might not be able to understand why God doesn't intervene sooner, but I have the promise that he will, execute judgment in time. So on atheism, all those people get a free pass. In Christianity, they might not get judged when we want, but they will be judged. Yeah. So I started thinking like that. I thought, boy, if I'm an agnostic, that seemed attractive sometimes. But then I thought, the agnostic, at least they're, certain about one thing, and that's that there is an explanation. They just don't know what the explanation is. I would rather give my life to what seemingly is the best explanation than saying there is an explanation, but I'm just going to throw my hands up and sit in critics' corner all the time.
Yeah, there's a distinction too, I think, between belief that and belief in. Belief that is the evidence that God exists and Jesus rose from the dead. But belief in is trusting in what you have good evidence to believe is true, trusting in that Jesus is the Savior. And so if you're just struggling with belief that, you can get answers for that. But if you're struggling with belief in, you don't want to trust in Jesus. I see that a lot, Bobby, on college campuses. I'll ask people, if Christianity were true, would you become a Christian? And they'll say no. I mean, well, the truth doesn't matter at that point, right? They're not interested in the truth. They're not interested. They're not on a truth quest. They're on a happiness quest, right? They just want to believe whatever they think is going to make them happy. And they perceive God is in the way of making them happy. Jorge, can people hear you now? I hope.
Guys, I think people can hear me now.
That's too bad, man.
Oh, well, I'm finally here. I think I'm way too loud too, so I got to fix this stuff because I haven't been saying anything because of that. But I think I'm here. I'm back. And as people asking, hey, who's the guy with the gorgeous beard and the awesome handlebar mustache? And I said, I am Jorge Hill. Yo soy Jorge Hill. So actually, they probably came in late.
If they think that's a gorgeous beard.
Oh man, come on, man! I'm and I'm not even streaming in 4K. We're doing HD 1080. So if we do 4K, man, they be able to see these beautiful gray hairs right here. This awesome pattern. You see, I can sell the beard, baby.
You can, bro. You can.
Absolutely. So now we're back. We're not selling beers. I didn't say beers, I say beards. It's the accent, it's the foreign accent. But now that I am back, now everybody is able to hear me. Well,
Well,
you gonna stick around?
And questions. I just wanted everyone to know that Bobby is the man to turn to if you're having doubts, because he's not just going to give you the intellectual way out of the doubt. He's going to help you. He's going to help walk you out of the doubt emotionally as well. So
Absolutely.
This course, and by the way, there's two types of courses we run. There's basic courses where you just watch the video, answer the questions. You don't interact live with anybody. You can take that at any time. But the course that Bobby's about to start is going to be what we call a premium course, where he's going to come on once a week with you and interact with you live via Zoom video. That's why we're doing this broadcast right now, so you can know about that course and be a part of it. Now, we keep those classes small, so you'll have time to interact with Bobby. We don't, you don't have hundreds of people in there. We keep it small so you can interact with the instructor. So if you want to sign up for this, if you want to get your doubts answered and you want to find your way out of doubt, sign up in the next few days, because this course is going to start live next week. So,
yeah, I think Monday. We're going live Monday with the course. We want you guys to join us. It is an amazing experience to go through these courses where you have interactive features of the course. Actually, we're going to show you guys all of that, and also we're going to be doing a giveaway at the end. But let's get back to Bobby.
All right, you guys go. I'll see you guys later.
All right. Well, Frank is out, and me and Bobby going to stick around. You got something to say, Bobby, to Frank before I let him go?
Yes. Grow a beard, Frank, and it was great chatting with you, buddy.
I doubt I could grow such a beard.
Let me tell you something. I actually
walk me out of my doubts, man.
I actually just seen somebody on Facebook saying that there are no beards in heaven, and that my beard is better than Frank's.
It is.
So Frank, you need to grow a beard. Remember when people wanted William Lane Craig to bring the beard back?
Oh yeah, he did. They did, didn't they?
We actually want Frank to grow one. Okay, I've seen Bobby with a stash.
Forget about it. Bobby's
So
had that thing going, hasn't he? He had that at one point.
Yeah, I think Frank needs to kind of cut a hard part in his hair and grow his bangs out, and get some high top Converse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he got to keep up with the times. Absolutely.
Skinny jeans, man. That's next.
Dude, come on.
Pretty soon I'll be denying the Bible. All right, you can doubt that.
All right. So peace out, Frank, and we'll see you. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank you.
All right, so it's me and you, Bobby. We're talking about the course, Doubting Towards Faith. A lot of good things we have coming up in the rest of the show, and we want people to ask questions on the comment section. What I want to do is I want to show Bobby some of the stuff that you put together, and before we go there, tell our audience, why do you put this course together? Why? Well, you already told us why you're so passionate about this. What went through your mind? I know you personally, so me and you have had some conversations related to this issue of doubting and how you overanalyze everything. How you get to a point where you get anxious about things because you're always looking and searching and digging. What made you put this course together to reach out to others?
Well, I mean, honestly, I want to help people. It helps me to always remember how God would bring me through this dark night of the soul to help others. It's the same thing in AA, right? I mean, I've been through the 12 steps on different occasions, as a recovering alcoholic. And you go in there, you share your story because, it reminds you where you came from and helping others. And I want to do the same thing as it relates to my doubts. I want to make sure that people, know that Christianity is something that answers and delivers and they can feel confident in. And I really feel like at my pastoral experience, my interest in neuroscience and some psychology, my interest in emotions and the psyche, coupled with philosophy and Bible, bringing all that together, I hope to be able to kind of not just treat the mind, but treat the whole person in this course. And also, just be a sounding board, to just be a resource for those who are struggling, or they might even know others who are struggling as well. And also, if people don't struggle with doubts, it's still important to learn about what people go through when they are hammered with it. I mean, many people who become apostates, I mean, think about the emotional angst people have to go through to become an apostate. And so all that's going down in people's life, I think it's important to be equipped on how to deal with doubters, even if we don't get hammered by them.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I seen some comments on YouTube that lead me to ask you these questions. What do you think people demonize doubt? Because people say, well, you have doubts, you've really not trusted in the Lord Jesus Christ, and you're not doing your part. Da 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 da. When I came to Christ, I never doubted again. Why people have this idea that doubt is the doubt is the opposite of faith? Why people go that route?
Yeah. So doubt is not the opposite of faith. Unbelief is. That's a good question. People can really panic as it relates to this. I think some of it is born out of maybe an old guard type of fundamentalism that people would get together in their small groups and it's great, preach the word, and they talk about the word, and we identified maturity with how well you could articulate your doctrine. Well, if you're having doubts about the doctrine you're trying to articulate, then that can create some fear in even sharing that. And so what's happened is a lot of churches, they don't leave room for people to be authentic, because the moment we're authentic about the fact that we have these questions, then you have some that are ready to say, they minimize our doubts and say, well, just believe, or they look at you like you're silly for having them. Or others, they might be ready to point, or call you out as a heretic, and no one wants that. So you have closet doubters. And what I want to say is people should be able to talk about their doubts in the same way they should be able to talk about their guilt, in the same way they should be able to talk about their fears, in the same way they should be able to talk about their worries. And if we want a, fabricated cheesianity where we get together and we can't be vulnerable, then we all just need to just sit around and, leave no room to talk about what really gets to us. But the reality is we're people. And so that's the other thing. Like, people could think, well, I can have fears, I can have worries, I can have, anxieties, but in depression, well, then why couldn't I struggle with doubts too? And so we help each other. And I think that this course should be a way of engaging into authentic Christianity. Doubt's not foreign in the Bible, and we'll talk about that. You see people in the scriptures doubting Jesus, the cousin, or John the Baptist. He struggled with doubts. I mean, if the one who baptized Jesus, the cousin of Jesus, can have doubts on death row, how much more are we susceptible 2,000 years removed?
Absolutely, man. That is a great answer. Actually, I just saw another comment that says, doubt is the enemy to faith. We sound like, this. We just finished a 40-year Star Wars saga. Over across decades, and that sounds like a Sith Lord talking. Doubt is the enemy to faith. Why people are so stuck in this? Because, to be honest with you, I never doubted the existence of God, but I never cared about him until I was in a federal detention center at 27 years old, 28 years old. And then I sat down, and then I started having doubts. But I started having doubts about myself, and that's what brought me to Jesus. So the idea of doubting towards faith, where does that come from?
Well, let me say this. I'm assuming someone's saying doubt is the enemy of faith. Listen, any learner knows what it's like to have doubts. I mean, you know how many times, even as a Christian, like, you could be a pre-tribber and then end up as a post-tribber later. Well, in order to become a post-tribber, you have to doubt your pre-tribber. So unless you've held on to the same theological position that was handed to you, then you could say you've never had doubts. But if you've ever went from a young earth to an old earth, well, to go from a young earth to an old earth means you'd have to come to a place where you start doubting young earth creationism in order to believe in old earth. So when people say sometimes it's not an enemy of the faith, sometimes we're just thinking about different doctrines on how things are going to be put together. Jude says, "Be merciful to those who doubt." You look at the psalmists. I mean, they're so authentic about their doubts. God, where are you? How could you do this? And I think that kind of a statement is what shuts people down. And we end up becoming inauthentic in the way that we relate to one another. And the reality is I guess we could say that about all kinds of things. Fear is an enemy of the faith. Guilt is an enemy of the faith. Anxiety is an enemy of the faith. Worry is an enemy of the faith. And so I get it. I'm not saying any of that's good. It's not great and good. I'm not celebrating doubts. I'm just saying they're there. And
it's real. Yeah, it's part of reality. Yeah, it's part of who we are. And actually, sometimes I think stuff like this come across as, I got this heightened state of Christianity. I want to be just holier than thou. I don't never doubt. I don't never do this. I think that is a caricature. I'm telling you, I struggle every day with all my flaws. Well, guess what? Doubt could be one of those. Doubting Thomas. How did Jesus responded to Thomas's doubt?
Yeah, here I am, put your fingers in my sides, but then he tells them, you believe because you've seen, but blessed are those who believe and have not seen. But he didn't, beat him up over the head. Even John the Baptist, here's one. John the Baptist is on death row. He sends his disciples off with his doubts to go find out if Jesus is really the Messiah. Now that means John the Baptist was being a vulnerable leader. Mm-hmm. And not only that, the disciples go off. You can imagine them going, wait, John, you told us that he was the Messiah. So then they go to Jesus. Jesus stops what he's doing in the middle of his message. And what does he say? Go tell John. And he starts speaking like an apologist, that the deaf hear, the blind see, the lame walk. And then he tells the crowd, he says, no one has been born greater of a woman than John. Mm. So in other words, Jesus pays his greatest compliment to John. Here's the thing. Anybody that just going to say that would minimize the fact that doubts come. If somebody's never had any doubts, they're either not thinking about their faith, number one, they haven't read a whole bunch, or they're just reading one line of things. Like they're just listening to the choir. They're only reading books that keep them protected. Mm-hmm. But when you really get out and start studying and looking at things, you're going to face some things. And
absolutely.
Anybody who thinks that they're above it, I believe that I'd take 5 minutes with anybody anytime and would show them that they've had doubts.
Absolutely. I think that's true. The more you want to stretch and go into the Word of God, I tell you, man, things like the Old Testament, man, there's some weird stuff there, man. It makes you think and you're like, well, what's going on here? But that is exactly why we have to dig deeper, because at the end of the day, guess what? God is the God of the whole show. God is the prime reality. Actually, God is more real than we are, because we're just derivatives of the real, if that makes any sense, which is God. God is the prime reality. So now let's move on and let's show people where they can go to get the course. And actually, I'm just going to show you this. You can see this on the screen also, Bobby. And this is onlinechristiancourses.com. That's all you have to type in, onlinechristiancourses.com. The first course that pop up here is Bobby's course. You can click on learn more and it's going to send you to, it's not going to send you there. It's going to send you, let's see, open a new tab right here. And right here, you can read everything about Bobby's course. You can learn. It tells you when the course is going to start. We're going to start on Monday. You can go ahead and sign up right away. It tells you everything that you're going to learn about through the few weeks that you're going to be doing the course with Bobby. You actually got some endorsements right here of your book, Doubting Towards Faith, that it is the basis for this course. Actually, it is the textbook that we use for the course. And it gives you Bobby's credentials, and it gives you 2 tiers. You can get basic course, which is self-paced, and then you can get the premium course, which you actually get certified. You get a certificate after the course, and you'll be able to be with Bobby live during the course several times using Zoom video. You can actually also try it. You can do a free trial. You don't have to put in your credit card or nothing like that. All you have to do is go check it out. But before that, Bobby, I want to play our audience this quick video. But before I play this, tell them what was going through your head when you recorded this.
Well, this is just a little bit of acting right here, where I try to come in touch again with what I was experiencing in the midst of my doubt. And so a video producer friend of mine got together, and we just tried to paint a picture. And you see me in this house wrestling with my doubts, and then I end up coming out of it with a book. And that's kind of the storyline of the way God worked in my life. I got hammered by doubts, but God used that to formulate a book for me. And so God comforts us in our affliction so that we can in turn comfort others. And that's kind of the story here, me getting in touch with my angst.
I love it. So let's go ahead and play it.
At times I hear voices in my head that come packaged in the form of questions that make me wonder, is this all a joke? Voices that hijack my peace, saying, leave this thing. Step outside the box of Christianity and look at it as a spectator from the outside. See how trapped you've been. See how gullible you've been. Look at the stranglehold you've been in. Man, you've been duped. You've been duped, man. And that's what I feel like at times, God. Like I'm hanging off a cliff by my fingernails. And I haven't let go yet. But no longer am I up on that foundation, living in this no man's land between belief and unbelief in a world filled with doubt. Where are you, God? I'm desperate for you, God. I need you to come through.
All right, so now we're going to show people the way that they can access the course. Actually, you can go and just click the arrow. So first you watch the intro video. You go and we show you how to do student discussions. We have a discussion forum. You can download the course schedule, and actually you can sign up for the Zoom meetings. And the first and that starts the 12th. Is it the 12th? When is the 12th, Bobby? That'll be that's the 6th. It starts the 6th. Yeah. I think it starts the 6th. So you go here and then you see number 1. It allows you to go through here. You can read certain articles that we give you, and then the course starts. You are able to actually see, Bobby, I'm not going to play this. But you get a glimpse of a lesson, and then as you go through these, plus you get all the videos, plus the book, plus all the articles, chapter questions, you get your workbook, and then you get the sign up with Bobby. As January 7th at 9 p.m. Eastern time is the first time that you're going to go live with your with the student group. So you sign up for the course, you go through the videos that are pre-recorded, and then sometime on Tuesday you go live with Bobby for about an hour and a half, and then you move to the next lesson. The next lesson is the same thing. It tells you what chapter to read. It gives you a series of videos that you're going to be watching where Bobby is expounding on the lesson. Is going to give you a set of, how can I say it? Their added resources to the lesson. You're going to have chapter questions. Then you're going to have a set of recommended resources. and I'm not sure if we're going to be doing any testing, Bobby. Do you know?
I'm not planning to do any testing. No, I don't like
Okay.
to.
You don't like testing. You don't like testing. So the idea here is, I think one of the most beautiful things I've seen during these courses is the way that the students get to interact with each other, especially during the Zoom sessions. They almost become like a group of friends getting together because you have something in common. So this whole idea of getting together online, being in the comfort of your house. I've seen some of the students when I teach a course on online Christian courses where they come, they might be in the bus, they might be, commuting home, they have their headphones on, they can listen to the conversation and actually interact with us. Sometimes we do an hour, sometimes we do an hour and a half. But I think the beautiful thing is that they're able to connect with the with the instructor. And now, it that being said, Bobby, why do you love teaching so much?
Well, I don't always love it. Um,
Ruthlessly honest, yeah.
yeah, but I do feel called to it. Because sometimes it's hard work, right? I mean, to get yourself prepared. Yeah, but I would say I do feel God's pleasure. The whole Eric Little thing from Chariots of Fire. I do feel God's pleasure in teaching because I feel like I love listening to teachers, and a teacher can really help our eyes to open up to some things, to give us a new interest, to give us a different perspective. And I love to be able to offer that. I love when I'm teaching my students and their eyes open up and they're catching it, or they're thinking about things differently, or they're being stretched or challenged, and they're falling in love with the process of learning. So it's all the change that goes on in people's life that's really exciting to me. And I've seen that happen in my own life as a result of teachers working through, different courses that I've had that have helped me tremendously.
Yeah, that's great. Well, we've talked enough about the course. Our hope is that you guys join. Our hope is that you guys, for whatever reason, um, you might be doubting, you might know somebody, maybe you know somebody who really needs this course. There's nobody better out there. I know that there are several scholars that have written books on doubt. I know Gary Habermas really focused on the topic of doubt. He helped me a lot too. He focused on the topic of doubt, topic of suffering. But Bobby, the way that you put things together in the book and in this course is amazing. I encourage everybody who's watching right now to join the course. It is an amazing experience. You can do it right now. I think it's how many weeks, Bobby? Do you know? 7 weeks. 7 weeks is a short course. I mean, it doesn't take a lot of work, but it does bring you a lot of good insights into how to deal with doubt, how to help others, and the like. So now, with that being said, Bobby, I'm going to give you the mic back. Tell us why people should join this course, and then from there we move on to the Q&A session, and then after the Q&A session, we can go ahead and give away some books. How about that?
That sounds great. Yeah, I mean, the reason I would love everybody to jump in and take this is, first off, we're going to talk about the culture that we live in. We're going to see that we're in a melting pot culture of beliefs, that people have questions, and their questions, deserve answers. And so we will be equipped to be more apologetic in the way that we help people. We can give a defense. I think also we're going to have a theology of doubt. We're going to see what does God look. How does God look at doubt? How does He look at doubters? What is this idea of doubt to begin with? What does it mean? We're going to define it. We're going to look at how God treats doubters. We're going to see how replete the scriptures are with doubters. Then we're going to take principles from what we learn about God and what we learn about the people in the scripture who doubt, and we're going to contextualize it here in our own culture. And we're going to provide governing principles to help us to help doubters. We're going to talk about how the local church can do a better job dealing with doubters. as well. And we're going to be aware of what are the top doubts that people struggle with and what are the best answers that we can offer them. And we're also going to even get into a little bit of stuff as it relates to neuroscience. And we're going to talk about how we have to retrain our mind to think in a certain way. We have to catch our doubts before they sink us too deeply. And we're going to talk about, what does it look like to learn to think more positively about things as well, so that we can, not just be given to a constant skeptical mindset, but instead a constructively critical mindset.
Awesome. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you need to sign up right now for the Doubting Towards Faith online course at onlinechristiancourses.com. But Bobby, this is my favorite part of the show, the Q&A session. 3 simple rules today, as always. 1, question per person. Number 2, concise questions. Ain't nobody got time for 3 paragraphs on the comment section. I ain't gonna read them. Bobby ain't gonna read them. Frank ain't gonna read them. So make sure you keep them short and sweet, to the point. This format don't allow for you to go ahead and copy and paste somebody's question and objection from some obscure blog on the black web and then you drop it on the comment section. Nobody cares. Make sure they're your own legit questions. Make sure to try to formulate them in a way that allows to answer them. And number 3, questions related to today's topic. We're talking about doubt. We're talking about the new online course. They can be about the course or they can be about the topic of the course. But let's make sure we stay here on this. And with that being said, let's go back to Bobby, and I'm going to start looking. And actually, we got Frank Turek, Frank the Tank on YouTube interacting with our audience. That's a pleasant surprise. He never shows up and he's doing it today. So he's YouTubing today. Let's see, we got people on Facebook. We got people on several. Let's see. Okay, well now, fellas, okay, yeah, there is, I just said something about a long question, and that's exactly what I got on Facebook. So, let's see. All right. Let's look where the questions are. You're going to have to, okay, we got, okay, excellent. Let's see. We got one by Chris X right here, and it's moving pretty quick. It says, how old were you, or what step in your faith were you at when you became aware of your doubts, Bobby?
The first time I really remember struggling with doubts is during seminary at Dallas Theological back in probably 2001. And as I mentioned with Frank Turek at the beginning of the program, I was looking at the synoptic gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, as they were juxtaposed together. And in seeing them, I was struggling to reconcile some of the apparent contradictions. And I ended up reading an article by Darrell Bach, who was a professor there, called Live Jive or Memorex. And that is extracted from a chapter in Jesus Under Fire. And he's a New Testament scholar, and he helped me to learn how to think differently about that issue on some things. And I won't get into it all with ipsissima verba and ipsissima vox, but it was incredibly helpful. So what happened was I kind of felt it, and I ended up figuring out how is it that I could live with some of these apparent contradictions. How do I reconcile it and deal with it? I'd go away for a little while, and then I really started in the church plant that I started as I was traveling around the world. And in India, in the 1040 window, or in South Africa, or wherever I was in different parts of the world. I'd be in London or in Birmingham, England, and seeing all kinds of Muslims, and my mind just started struggling with, wow, all these people, and in particular in the 1040 window, like if they'd never heard about Jesus, they're going to go to hell. And I just found myself feeling a lot of angst about that and having to think through stuff. And so questions would just bubble up for me. And it got to a point where for every question I tried to chase down, I would collect another 10 questions. For every book I read, I'd learn about 10 more books I need to read. And so the way out of doubt for me had to become something other than just trying to read more books and get more answers. And that's some of the stuff that I'll talk about in this course. How did I renegotiate my faith stance where it didn't always have to become about getting that next question answered? How can I actually live with my questions without freaking out?
Oh, that's a great point, man. That's a fantastic point. We got the Magician, the Magic Man, 1986. What is the best step for an apologist? What is the best step an apologist can take to help other believers with doubt?
One thing I think is be compassionate with people who have doubts. When somebody brings up their doubts, like for example, if I was to bring up my doubts to somebody and they were to jump all over me and ridicule me or minimize me, well, then I would be insecure to be real. And so I would say, if somebody opens up, that's wonderful. I mean, they're entrusting something to us that feels very fragile on their insides, their faith. And when people are willing to share a piece of themselves with us, be it their doubts or whatever it is like that, we should realize that they're taking a risk and giving a piece of themselves to us. And we should honor that. And as Jude said, be merciful to those who doubt. Don't judge them. Don't throw stones at them. Don't make them feel stupid. Don't minimize it. They're on their own journey. And here's the deal. At the end of the day, every one of us, we're a product of our mentors, our parents, the books we've read, our pain, our experiences. And instead of seeing people through our own lens, we need to realize that just as those things have shaped us, so too the person struggling, they've been shaped by something. And we see the world through their perspective. And even if we can't understand their doubts, then we need to understand that I need to grow in my ability to understand. I need to get behind their lens so that I can be compassionate and so I can listen to them. And then I would say, once we hear them out, figure out the source of their doubts. Is it as a result of maybe a book that they've read that you can counteract it with a better book that would help them? Is there sin involved in their life? Have they just been disillusioned in life because of, unrealistic expectations? So we start thinking about how it is that we can help them through it. And then we try to build out a support system for them in the church. We let them know we're praying for them. And I'll tell you what, I would never want anybody that would take this course with me to feel like they could share something and we're just going to just laugh at them. I don't care what questions people have. They need to feel comfortable bringing that stuff up.
Absolutely.
And a lot of times, it could be their sexuality they're struggling with. And they're doubting what the Bible has to say about that. I don't want to, there's a way that we can talk about things that doesn't diminish somebody who's created in the image of God. Yet at the same token, we don't compromise on what the truth has to say in the canon.
Bro, that's so profound and powerful, man. That is so good, man. Thank you for sharing that.
You bet.
And before moving to I got one by Carmen Jimenez. It's a great question here, but I want to read a comment here for you. Rick Ham says, being a Christian for many years, I was taught that if I had doubt, that meant I didn't have Christ in my heart and that I needed to repent. That's the problem. That's why courses like this are so crucial. We are taught to think a certain way. We talk about apologetics, but we never touch that nerve when it comes to doubt. People are afraid or they have a completely misguided idea on how to deal with this. So that's why I think your work is amazing when it comes to this topic.
Listen, Jorge, I'll tell you, bro, that is the problem. It's kind of like I'll say sometimes, all denominations are just different sized boxes that tell us how big or small Christianity is. And some of these boxes that are just so ultra fundamental, somebody could become a Christian on Wednesday and then go through this 4-week course, and all they learn in the course is, here's the one way Jesus is coming again. Here's the one type of Bible you need to read. Here's the one way of looking at this. And people feel like they've got God in their comfortable little box. And anybody that starts to break out of that box, they get demonized for like becoming heretical. But the reality is sometimes people aren't even free to think they're in a box so small. And I'm thankful that we have a God that invites us into a big box. We need a box. We need borders. Without it, we'd be heretics, right? But I believe the box is a lot bigger, and God can handle our questions. And for that, that's why I give myself to mere Christianity, where I'm most passionate about, defending mere Christianity, because a lot of these ancillary things that we splinter the church over in the name of our pet particularities doesn't do the church a whole lot well, especially considering Jesus didn't die on many hills. He died on one.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I know we'll major in the major, don't major in the minors. The main things are the plain things, and the plain things are the main things. Absolutely. That's how it is. Carmen says the following. He says, what's the most difficult doubt you've ever struggled with when it comes to the text? And she's referring to the scriptures.
The doctrine of hell. The doctrine of hell. That is the most challenging, perplexing doctrine that really, it was tough for me to think about. I remember flying back from India, and on the airplane, I was just flying over so much land and so much space, and my heart was just wrecked thinking about people going to hell, and people who'd never heard about the gospel, and I was just wrestling through that. And some of what it was for me, though, is I had to rethink my idea of what I thought the Bible taught about hell. Early on, when I was in Bible college, I was taught that hell is literal flames. So that was very hard for me to imagine people sitting on top of a fire pit forever. It was just agonizing for me. And, while I believe hell is an eternal place and people will go there being separated from God, I don't look at it like this torture chamber where they're sitting on top of coals in a fire pit. Instead, I look at it like separation from God, where we're left to ourselves, absent of the general grace of God in our life. And while that is horrific, I also looked at the scriptures and just realized, you know what? God is a just God. He's not willing that any should perish. Will not the judge of the earth do what is right? And at the end of the day, I realized, even in the book of Revelation, those in heaven, they're praising God for his judgments that are being poured out. And we can see ourselves there in the future. And I realized, wow, there we are in the future in the eschaton, and we're able to praise God for his judgments. Well, why is that? Because in our mortal bodies right now, we fail to understand just how holy God is and just how unholy humanity is. And as a result, it's hard for us, even more difficult for us to understand. But when we get to heaven and we're with God in our glorified bodies someday, I mean, we will really have, even before we get our glorified bodies, I mean, to be absent from bodies, to be present with the Lord, we will have a better sense of God's holiness and how much people deserve his justice. And the very fact that we're there, it's not because we deserved it, it's all his grace. But that doctrine was hard for me, and I had to go through, how is it that I think about that? Why is it that people go to eternal hell for temporal sins? And we can talk about that in this program.
I love it, man. That's deep, man. Well, you've heard it. Go sign up. Get ready. Monday is around the corner. Doubting Towards Faith online course. Get the premium certificate module, and then you'll be able to interact with Bobby. Bobby, you got a lot of good nuggets, man, answering those questions. Now, I've seen some more questions coming in. People don't pay attention. They don't follow the rules. So we're gonna actually move on. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna keep it real here, Bobby. So just give me a minute, and I will actually bring you in. I have to actually do some magic right here with our system, because I need Bobby to be brought into the screen so we can start giving away some books. Absolutely. I love to give away some books, especially some good books. And we actually got a couple of books by you, Bobby, that we're going to be giving away. So you guys just have to sit tight and we'll give you the instructions on how to participate. But I need to get Bobby on the screen really quickly right here. I forgot to do this because I was dealing with my microphone. Now that my microphone is on, is something else. All right, so right here. Right here. Now I'll bring you in here. Now I'll bring you down here to my screen. There you go. And now I'll bring you in.
Yeah, this takes 51 of the questions, or 52 of the questions, I should say, that I've done on the 1 Minute Apologist, but in written form. And so basically, it's just some of the top questions that are asked. And we deal with some of the tougher sexual questions, some of the different moral questions that we might have, arguments for the existence of God, some of the challenging textual questions like apparent contradictions. And we just deal with those questions at the end of each chapter, short little chapters. There's the video link that they can watch, a thought-provoking question, and a good little quote for them to go away with.
Excellent. And actually, I was informed that they didn't hear anything I said. Anything, because I had forgotten to turn my other mic on. So I'm going to rewind real quick, and I'm going to say, well, Bobby, tell us a little bit about this book, Does God Exist? And 51 other compelling questions about God and the Bible. What was your inspiration, about this book? And obviously, everybody can see how to participate on the book giveaway. Text 1 Minute Apologist to 44222, and you guys get a text back, put your email address in, and that's it. You're in. Super simple. I was telling you guys are spoiled. You guys are used to that one click on Amazon.com. Here in Cross Examine, we give you 2 clicks. Open your phone, get the text, reply with your email. Is that simple. So Bobby, just replay what you just said about the book.
Be able to capture some of the most important questions that I think people ask and put them in a book form. And at the end of each chapter, we offer a video, a provocative thought, and a question for people to consider. And it's kind of an interactive book in that way toward the end. And we deal with sexual questions. We deal with moral questions, arguments for the existence of God, apparent contradictions, and things of like manner.
Excellent. And well, I want to apologize, people, but the number is not international. It's just here in the U.S. I wish we could do international. Maybe there's other way we can do it. Maybe next time what I'll do is I'll create a form online. You can go in and we'll send it to New Zealand. I know the person in New Zealand now. I'm back. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me now. Let's see. Yep, that you're able to hear me. Anyways, we're going to move on to the next book, the fifth gospel. I know every time you say something like that, somebody's going to be just shoot from the hip and say you're a heretic because there are only four. So, Bobby, the inspiration from this book, tell us a little bit about it and make people excited so they can participate.
It's funny you say that, though, because when The Blaze did a write-up on my book online when it came out, The Fifth Gospel, and the author at The Blaze, he revealed it as Pastor Reveals Another Gospel. And I thought it was a very creative way to unveil my book. And you ended up getting all these Christians who were like this, what's this guy doing? There's only four gospels, da da da. And I thought, boy, if they would just open the book and read it, they'll realize they're crucifying one of their own right now because they're looking at just simply the title. By the fifth gospel, it was built out from a quote that I was really moved by the late British evangelist named Gypsy Smith, who once quipped, there's five gospels: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, and the Christian, and most people will never read the first four. So the idea is that the church or the Christian is the fifth gospel, not an inspired gospel, but hopefully an inspiring one. The Bible says that we are the aroma of Christ, that we have this message, in jars of clay, that, these types of statements, we realize that the church is meant to be a gospel. Good news. Again, not a canonized gospel, but a good news message in the world that we live in. If people never read the Bible, will they see the good news leaking through our own life?
Through you, reflecting, Christ-like. That is so awesome, man. Well, we want to make sure that you guys enter your email, text 44222. Hey, text 1 minute apologist to 44222, and you'll be entered into this giveaway. Let's see how many people we got so far. We got a little over 10 people here, so the chances of winning are pretty good.
And Jorge, signed by you, right? It's going to be The Fifth Gospel by Bobby Conway, signed by Jorge Hill.
Signed by me. Well, I actually I can arrange that, man. I'm a lefty, so my signature is pretty dope. So we can do that. We can arrange that. Okay, so let's see. We're gonna give a little bit more time for people to sign. Just text 44222 for the book. God bless Priscilla Smith. Thank you. God bless you too. And now we're going to go back to the questions. We're going to take one or two more questions. No, before we go to the questions, I want to go back to the, I want to go back here and show people a little bit about your website. Tell us about the 1 Minute Apologist. Tell us how they can sign up, how they can become a partner, how they can sponsor a video. Tell us everybody about your ministry, Bobby.
Yeah, a couple things I'd say. We would love for people to go to our YouTube channel, the 1 Minute Apologist on YouTube. Subscribe there. We release 2 new videos per week, and be sure to like us if you would. We also, at our website, you can find out about my books, our podcast that I do with our executive producer, Tim Hull. We have a new podcast that comes out every week. We have a new blog post that comes out each week. And then we have, for $99, an annual membership, and that requires bonus material and different courses. I'll be putting together different courses like on the book of Genesis, the Gospel of John, 2 Corinthians. We'll be dealing with lots of the apologetic issues through the scriptures, apologetics, evangelism, Jesus and the moral philosophers. These are courses I'm going to be putting together and providing for our members. We will be doing extended interviews as well. So they can get all of that there. And if anybody's interested in having me speak at their church or in an event, they can, find out about how to do that on our website as well.
That is awesome, man. That is pretty awesome. and they can sign up directly here in this. You can join right here. You can donate also. You don't have to do the $99 deal. You can come over here. Anything helps. You can come help Bobby. And also, I want you to tell people about this quote, and I'm going to read it for you, okay? So I'm going to read it in Bobby Conway's voice. While I've been on a frequent guest on the pastor's perspective, today is my first day on the job. You can listen live here. It's a call-in Q&A radio program with lots of apologetic interaction. I'm on Monday through Thursday. Is that correct? From 3 to 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, listening. Also, it is aired throughout the country. Perhaps you can pick it up locally. I used to listen to the program in Dallas during seminary. It's the most listened to Christian radio program in Southern California. Pretty cool and humbling, so lots of opportunity. Prayers appreciated. Lord, help me. Praise Jesus. K-Wave 107.9. Tell us about this, man. This is exciting.
Yeah, this is. K-Wave is actually the #1 most listened to radio program in the country. And in Southern, and Pastor's Perspective is K-Wave's #1 most listened to program. So it's just a humbling opportunity that God just gave me. I became the successor to Don Stewart, who's been an apologist on this program for a long time. The Pastor's Perspective used to be called To Every Man an Answer. So you have the Bible Answer Man with Hank Hanegraaff, and then kind of another similar program would have been To Every Man an Answer with Chuck Smith and Don Stewart, which is now the Pastor's Perspective. And I'm taking Don Stewart's role as an apologist. Chuck Smith passed away, and Brian Broderson, his son-in-law, is now the successor of Chuck Smith. And he hired me on the role doing this, and it's been great, like in Southern California as well, because it's, there's lots of lost people, and I love just the influence we're having into LA, San Diego, and then, as I said, throughout the country. And it's in prime time for us out here in Cali. It's a call-in program. People call up and they just ask whatever, and we talk with them on the phone.
That's dope, man. That is, it is just great, man. I know you have that. It's ever since I met you, man, and you probably don't remember. It was like 2013, 2014, one of the apologetics conference. I don't even think you had gray hair. Maybe you had 1 or 2 back then, And I definitely didn't have no beard, man. I looked so weird. Like my chin was showing. It was some. I don't even remember those days. But anyways, you just have a way to talk to people and a way to be empathetic and to connect emotionally with people. And I know you're gonna be doing
Thank you, bro.
a lot of good on the air. I know your stuff is gonna go everywhere. You just have, you can hear it in your voice. You're a passionate person. You're very eloquent when it comes to dealing with delicate topics, like we're talking about doubt, and you're open. I think that's one of the most important things. You're open. You show your flaws, and you tell people, hey, it's okay to be vulnerable. Look at our Lord and Savior, right? He came over here, he made himself vulnerable and put on this flesh and died for us. So I think that's amazing, and you just the perfect person for this, man. So I'm proud of you, man, and I know that people are gonna love your show. They got to make sure to sign up. You can listen online. You can listen on the app. I think that they also have an app where you can, or directly on the browser, you can listen to it and just have your AirPods on and take Bobby on the go.
That's right.
Yeah, I got another question here, and I think this is a great question. It says, when you doubt and don't have someone to consistently turn to about these doubts, well, I think it's Sirach. Get the course. Number 1, sign up for the course. And then what are some encouraging resources or things one can do? Well, the book and the course, number 1. Now your turn, Bobby.
Will you repeat the question? I didn't quite Get it? You broke up
Okay.
a.
Okay. Well, I don't think I think it's my accent. Just be honest, man. I like to be vulnerable too, man. Okay, I'll be vulnerable. I'll say, man, it's just that accent. It's that Rico Suave stuff that sometime comes out when I speak too fast. But it's all right, man. It says, when you doubt and don't have someone to consistently turn to about these doubts, what are some encouraging resources or things one can do?
Well, I can relate to that question. It was very difficult as a pastor because I was preaching by faith, right? I mean, I would say, Lord, I've got all these questions. I can't even chase the answers down right now, and I got to preach Sunday, and help me to just do it by faith and to honor you and living with this tension. And you just can't walk out every Sunday and burden the body with all the questions that you have when you're a lead pastor. At the same token, a lot of where we are on our journey, depending upon the questions you have. For me, I was engaged in serious PhD research. So a lot of the people that I would interact, they wouldn't even be equipped to handle having a mental dump from me with all of the questions. It wouldn't even be fair to like give them all that I'm thinking about if I couldn't reconcile it, to leave them in that state of angst. So you have to know where you're at, what type of questions you are, and try to find the right type of people to help you. So I was fortunate as an apologist to have great apologist friends. So Gary Habermas was very helpful with me. Mike Lacona was very helpful. I remember picking up the phone and calling Mike, and he just answered on the spot, and he walked with me through things. And I had a lot of these people helping me. But in the church context, I found for me as a pastor, the questions I was thinking about were beyond the types of everyday stuff that I was facing maybe earlier on in my doubts. And so we have to have an awareness of where to do a doubt dump. And for example, I was trying to dump my doubts off on my wife, and she was totally incapable of processing them. They were overwhelming her. She saw me sinking into dark depression, and I would come home and try to talk about them with her, but she wasn't trained and equipped to be able to give me the answers that I needed. So in some ways, I was kind of being selfish because it was, relieving for me to have someone to talk about. The problem is she was the wrong person. She wasn't equipped to handle that. So make sure when you're looking for people to share your doubts with, that they are people who you think would be equipped to handle them.
That is oops, let me see. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I think that's completely true. Now it's time to give away some books. Time to give away some books. People have signed up. I also, let's see, got it right here. Okay, Bobby, so this is gonna be super easy, super easy. You gotta give me, let's see. And by the way, you make sure you're here and you comment whenever I call out, and I cannot call out your full email, but I'm gonna call out your email. I don't want to put you out on the spot, but I'm gonna call out the email. And you got to make sure that whatever, I don't care if you're on Frank's Facebook page or the Cross Examine Facebook page or the YouTube the YouTube channel, the Cross Examine YouTube channel, you got to make sure that you let me know you're still watching the live in order to win it. Because then I'm going to email you, you're going to give me your mailing address, and I'm going to mail you a copy of the book. I don't know if you want to sign by me. Maybe we're going to arrange for Bobby to sign it another time. But you need to be here, and you're going to say, hey, that's me. I want the book, da-da-da-da-da. Let's see, Bobby. Give me a number. Let me refresh my screen and see. Give me a number between 1 and 17.
7.
7. All right. Let's see. Okay. 7. Justin Denny. Justin Denny, make sure that you make yourself to the comment box and give me your name. Justin Denny is the winner of
my man Justin.
Justin, God, does God exist? And 51 other compelling questions about God in the Bible. Woo. Justin, tell me where you are. I got to see you. You got to comment. Let's see. Michael Denny, I am here. There you go, Mike. You got it. I will send you an email as soon as we're done, and you give me your email address, and we go from there. We'll email you. I put it in the mail tomorrow, and so you can have it over the weekend. Now let's see. Give me another number. You cannot be 7. Give me another number. From 1 to 17, Bobby. The 5th gospel is going out. You heretic.
Number 1.
Number 1. Oh, come on. Okay. We got Derek. Derek, I think his last name is Hims. And actually, we talked about him. Derek, are you still with us? I think he is in awesome. Yeah, this is pretty good, because this is one of the guys that were the comment that I read about him being taught that if you have doubt, that you didn't have enough faith, that you needed to repent. Derek, are you here? Rick, I think are you here? Are you watching? If you're not here, man, we're gonna have to skip you. Come on, man. Derek, where are you, man? Come on. Let's see. Hey, he's there, man. Woohoo! Yeah, so we got the 2 winners
Yeah, it's like, that's good. Sometimes we win things in life and we don't even realize it, so I'm glad he's there.
Yeah, he's there. And actually, I've been doing it. When we do these live streams in Spanish, we'll do it. We got a big channel down in Argentina, and we do these live streams. I was being interviewed in that channel before I jump in with you, and I'm going to say it was the devil, because my microphone was working fine. So I don't know what happened, man. I mean, you got some spiritual warfare going on over there, man, because my mic was working fine until you showed up, man. Maybe for writing the 5th gospel, man. That's what it is. Yes, and one of the things that we realize is that people sign up and then they leave, right? And then you have to scramble to look for them. And now we said, no, you have to stick around in order to win. If you don't stick around, then we just move on to the next person. But that is good that Derek is here and Justin Denny is here. So, Bobby, let's go ahead and do a recap of what we've been talking about today. Number 1, we want people to go to online Christian courses, and obviously, we hear it all the time, Bobby. I know you hear it. We hear it. It's like being a content creator and being an apologist, and somehow you have to, go have 3 jobs in order to be able to do ministry, because we always have 2 or 3 people on the comment section say, how dare you sell this stuff? God is giving you the inspiration. You should give this knowledge away for free. Well, friends, we give you the gospel for free. Send me a message. I'll send you a Bible. I'll be more than glad to walk you through it and to spend some time with you on that. That's completely free. But when it comes down to these specialized resources, we bust our tail putting this together, and this is no joke. So if 99 is too much for you, then you don't really want it. Now, there are many people out there that if you really ask, you shall be given. If you really need this course, come contact us or reach out to your local church. That's where you should go first. And I'm sure somebody's going to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to put forward $99 so you can get this. But with that being said, this that we're doing, we think is valuable. That's what we do it. That's why we invest our life, resources, and time doing this. And I think that online Christian courses is a place where we are going to bless many people. Now, the ones that don't want to pay, well, I understand that, but we're not selling the gospel. The gospel is completely free. But the person who thinks that doing ministry doesn't need money, has never done ministry. Tell him, Bobby.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that, no doubt. I mean, you think about uh, even in our ministry, we've provided over 1,000 videos, and we've never charged for those videos, right? But imagine how much production costs we've had to spend in doing that. All the editing for every single video, all the setup, all the teardown, all the study time, everything, and we've given that over 1,000 videos for free. And so then what happens is when you start trying to create some tools to generate income, that's allowing you to keep providing for free. So a lot of the things that you guys offer are for free. You're able to do that because people support your ministry when you guys do ask for support in certain areas. And so that's how we all work in ministries. If you got to be able to pay workers to edit videos, you got to be able to pay workers to shoot and film videos. If you don't charge somewhere for something, then the very people who are doing it, they don't have the money to pay their staff to make stuff happen.
Absolutely. And I think, I understand where the frustration comes from, because there are a lot of people out there who are taking advantage of this. Prosperity preachers, we understand. But you have to be wise, and you have to recognize, at cross-examine everything. Everything is free. Even every college event is free for the students. Every piece of content that we put out there. I mean, people might not understand. I manage a team of 9 people on the daily basis that are not my kids, right? To be able to put out the best content out there. And I'm also involved in online Christian courses. And I know the kind of hard work that we put in this. And we do it because I know it's going to bless someone. So I understand the frustration for many people, but I also want people to understand that this is how the cookie crumbles. This is how things work, and we need your support. And one way to support us is to be able to join this type of courses that we have here. So we talk about that in Towards Faith with Dr. Bobby Conway. The course starts in 3 days and 19 hours, so about 4 days. You will be able to be live with Bobby on Tuesday night, and you're gonna be able to have a small group with you. The course is completely interactive. As you can see, you have all the lessons laid out. The book, you can buy it on physical. You can get it 2-day shipping, or you can just get the Kindle version. That's going to be the workbook for the course. You can always come to the 1 Minute Apologist, join the community. You can sponsor a video. You can donate. Help Bobby's ministry. He's doing amazing work. You can learn more about Bobby Conway at the1minuteapologist.com. Make sure you make your way to his YouTube channel. He's got over 1,000 videos of Q&A. Super, super well done. Make sure you go over there, subscribe to the channel, click on the bell. 2 new videos every week. And also remember, Bobby is now on the Pastor's Perspective Monday through Thursday, 3 to 4 Pacific Standard Time, prime time on Cave Wave 107.9. You can listen online, and probably you can catch him on many other radio stations across the country. Bobby, I know you're yawning already. That little espresso didn't do anything for you. You ain't like this Costa Rican right here. We invented coffee, man. But anyways, man, it's time to go to sleep. It's 11:46 p.m. in South Carolina. And actually, we're going to be in South Carolina next month. Tell people what we're going to be doing and tell them what to expect for 2020.
Yeah, that's something I'm really pumped about. Jorge, myself, and a group of YouTubers that do apologetics, people like David Wood, Mike Winger, Michael Jones. I don't know if Alan Parr is going to be able to make it. We've got Brett Kunkel, who might be able to come in as well. John McCrae. So we've got a lot of people that have their big channels, and we're going to be getting together and figuring out how to network better together as YouTubers. We're going to be watching lots of stuff on how to maximize our YouTube channels. And we plan to take our YouTube ministries on the road, where we become YouTube roadies, and we invite all of our audience to come out and be a part of what's going on. So together, the batch of us that will be together, we have over 1 million subscribers, and we're just hoping to do a lot more online stuff together as we network in order to see 2020 be a year of YouTube and apologetic ministry blowing up.
We're going to take over. YouTube is the apologetics year, baby. David
right.
Wood, Vocab Malone, Bobby Conway. We have me representing Cross Examine. We're going to have Mike Winger, Inspiring Philosophy, Capturing Christianity, Cameron Bertuzzi. Well, Tim Hall is going to be there. We're really going to be taking over. We're going to be creating some crazy viral videos. 2020 is the year for the next gen apologetics group. And we also going to be doing ApologeticCon, which is a conference of apologists, but they YouTubers only. So we're going to be doing that. We're going to be doing live streaming. I mean, this is going to go crazy, Bobby. So with that being said, well, we're not going to say anything else. I'm going to see you next month, Lord willing. We're going to have a blessed time. We're going to fellowship. We're going to learn a lot. And we also, and that's something else if you haven't seen David Wood's latest video, actually, I got to show this, man, because people got to see this. People got to see this. I'm telling you, man. People got to see this video. If they haven't been to David Wood's channel, they got to go see Acts Apologetics 17. And he actually explained it. He called it Building an Apologetics Empire. And by the way, pray for David Wood's brother. He is in a coma right now. He had some dealings with, drugs and stuff like that. This is the video I was telling you about. And I'm not going to put the audio on.
That sounds great. I got to watch that. I'm pulling up his stuff right now. I haven't seen that video. Is he talking about what we're going to be doing?
Well, he talked about a little bit about that. Is more of the strategy than the particulars of what we're going to be doing in this 1 week training. But he does talk about some of the things they're going to come out of that. Like we're going to get learn how to. How can I say it? So I cannot. So I won't spoil it. We're gonna learn how to really milk this whole YouTube thing, and Facebook, and we've been growing like crazy in the last couple of years. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come together and we're gonna join forces so everybody grows at a steady rate, and then after that, teach the younger generation or anybody who is interested in this, for that matter. Share the insights that we learn in this meeting and based on our experience, so they can replicate it. Because some of the people that are coming up right now are more, how can I say, are better trained in this whole editing video. I'm talking about, Bobby, probably your kids, my kids, have this is sort of like an innate way to just deal with technology. And me and you, we're not old, but we're not, that Gen Z, they have this, they come already preloaded with this internet knowledge, right? So that's what we want to do. That's what we're going to do. Anyways, go check that video out. It's a lot of fun. Make sure that you guys join in, and you're gonna see a lot of Bobby. You're gonna see a lot of Frank. You're gonna see a lot of Jorge Gil. You're gonna see a lot of David Wood, John McCrae, Vulcan. Jorge Gil.
Jorge Gil.
There you go. You got it, man.
Like
you
that.
know, down there in you know, this Hispanic thing is just more than tacos, man. I know you guys in Cali just think it's tacos and tequila, but no, it's a little more than that. But anyways, Bobby, it's been a pleasure to have you, man. It's been a lot of fun. I hope people sign up for these courses. It's going to be amazing. And with that being said, God bless you, and we'll see you later in the Cross Examine live show. Peace out.
Peace out.